You know, can I say something about that? Frank, listen to me. When I took all that steroids, I'm over here shaking my head. People are like, you got fucking nerve shaking your head. You're right. But let me get into that. When I got arrested, right? Wait, not arrested. Before I got arrested, right? Yeah. I went to the doctor and I was like pissing brown. And he told me your liver's really fucking inflated.
I was going to ask you if you had any problems.
Yes. But I only did steroids from 95 to 2000. I got arrested. So 5 years, if I would have kept going, I might have been underground. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't, even when I got, listen, when I was drug dealing, I was in with a guy who's, Frank, I'll tell you, I don't want to say it on here, but I'll tell you who it was. Somebody very famous, his son, okay, very, guy who's they made movies out of, okay, his son was my partner, and one of my partners in drug dealing. And let me tell you, he used to say to me, you never stop. You don't stop doing this shit. And he doesn't mean taking drugs, but I'm going to equate it with the steroid use. The mindset is, you're making, you know, before I'm making a little bit of money, I own a gym, this, that thing. But now I'm making fucking, I could do a drug deal, make 50 grand in a day. I can make ridiculous amounts. So, and it's cash. And I'm bringing home bola. Money didn't matter to me. You know, I remember, you know, I just made so much money. It wasn't funny. Right. So, you don't stop and say, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. I made enough money. It's never enough. And the same thing with the juice. When you start getting really jacked like that, now I'm older, you think different. But when you're younger, you start going, dude, if I'm fucking 300 now, imagine what I look like at 325. Then when you're 325, you know, it's like poor man want to be rich, rich man want to be king. The king ain't satisfied till he rules everything. It's a good, you know, so that's the thing. In my mindset, if I didn't get arrested, that might have saved me. That did save me, but I might have killed myself because I was not, I think, fucking pissing brown on it. You know, I'll just take some fucking, I don't know, Live 52 or something, and that'll stop it. You know, but it's not the case.
That documentary, when you said you would drop the needles, go.
Frank,
I was fucking dying.
Frank, I had cases. Frank, when I got arrested, I had cases of needles. Cases. There'd be big boxes with 10 boxes in a box of fucking of 100 needles in it. And I'm over here fucking reading needles, and they're like a fish hook and shit. You see the dust on it. I'm like, you know, wiping it off with my fucking fingers. It just and then sticking it in.
Was that bigger, faster, stronger when you?
Yeah, I think it was. Yes,
you dropped it and you go.
Yes.
Reused it. I died.
It might have been the TLC thing. I can't remember. It was. I talked about, but I'm stupid. I was stupid. I was a fucking idiot. You know, I look back at shit. You know, this shit I done. I robbed some houses with this guy who was a cop and shit. I think back to crazy shit I done, and I'm like, dude, just one. I shouldn't even say it. Fucking, I'll say it.
I know.
Just one cop, right? He was at a partner that wasn't so good, and he got pissed. So him and his partner had a problem, and I didn't like the partner. So we went and we took care of his house and shit. And we're walking down the street with shit in our arms like this, you know, that we just robbed. I mean, the cop would have came, we would have been arrested. That's ridiculous. But that's a hematoma right there. The other arm didn't look like that. That's hematoma. Yeah, see, that's the one I drained the blood. Everybody thinks like, oh my God. And see, if you look, I have two, I say, look, it goes in. That's
it right there. It is when you're talking about it.
Yeah, see there, look, I drained the hematoma, and they put a drain in the hospital. They put a drain to drain out any fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that was a hematoma. That was not from steroids. It was not from when you see I have the bottle, right?
You got hit by a bat. Didn't you get hit by a bat or something?
But it wasn't. I wish I could tell you it was a Hercules story. He didn't mean to do it. My son was an incredible baseball player. It was 1999, and they used to call back then. McGuire and them were going for the fucking thing. Yeah, my whole arm was just swollen, as you could see. Yeah, don't think I'm trying to show you that's muscle. There's blood dripping from there. So listen, I'm up, and my son's up there, and he used to let go of the bat back like this, and it hit me. You know when look at the fish hook. It's a fish hook. Look at it. The thing is not even. It's bent like this. Wait, watch. And you don't see oil coming out of that. That's blood. Yeah. It's like a big thing of blood.
Blood and pus, right? Like
no, it's not pus. It's not pus. No? It's just blood. No, you don't see pus. That's pure blood, red blood.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Look, it wasn't an infection, dude. If you have an infection bad, if that was an infection really bad,
you'd be dead. You would have took your arm off.
Yeah, man, you would. Yeah, you can't have, dude. A little tiny little infection. But
are you on the phone? Who are you talking to?
Bob Bonham. Look, see how the needle's bent? You see it bent?
Oh my God.
See, it's all blood. It looks like a murder scene. And it's a phone with a cord too, so I'm over there trying to fucking film myself do this shit, you know what I mean? Because there was a big pocket of blood, and I was like, I gotta get rid of this. It looks like fuck. I felt like Quado. Remember in the fucking with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Quaid. Quado came out, that thing that came out of his chest. Remember? I had one of them in my arm. But anyway, Frank, you have kids. You know in Little League, the kid, right? My son was like, they used to call him Babe McGuire. He used to hit these fucking tape measure shots. He was husky at the time, right? A little husky kid. And he'd get up there and he'd be back, but he used to let go of the bat. But he didn't let go of it like this. He would swing and let go behind him. And I was helping the little catcher kid, 8, 9 years old. They got the big catcher stuff on. They can't even catch the ball. So I would get the ball, throw it back to the pitcher. And he let go of the bat and it hit me here. So my whole arm blew up like a balloon. And my biggest mistake was fucking like flexing it and then shit like that. But it was a joke. I was doing it as a joke.
You thought it was cool because it got enormous, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I could sit here and hit.
Did you tape it? Did you see it, how big it blew up to?
Yeah,
it had to have been 30-something inches. Had to have been.
Yeah, that was like over 30 inches. But Frank, I was so disgusting. Listen to this. I'm standing in a fucking deli, right? And I had this thing. It's fucking hanging. It's not even. It's hanging, and it's only one arm. So it looks like, what did you do with one arm? So I'm sitting there, and this deli had all these mirrored wall and all these mirrors, and I'm looking, and I can see myself sideways, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, that looks like shit. It's almost like a chick that has giant basketball tits, right? And she finally realizes how ridiculous that looks, especially since the other arm didn't look like that. So then I'm like,
when you went home to start your surgery?
I call up Bob on him, because Bob's going to me, bro, we're sitting here at the dinner table, right? And we're in a diner, and he's going to me, bro, look, do me a favor, sit next to me, because I can't sit across from you because I'm looking at that, and it's like almost disgusting. This big fucking thing, and it would hang, you know what I mean? So then I called Bob, I'm getting rid of it right now. I was thinking of cutting it, but then I said, okay, let me just so I'm over there and I'm just draining all that blood, I brought the blood to the fucking hospital. It was like a big fucking jar like this,
Wait a minute.
It was bad,
What, because everything else is dirty up to here, what kind of jar did you put the blood in? Like the cookie jar? Or fucking Tupperware?
No, it was an old, I think it was an old pickle jar. It was like, a big jar. And I'm swirling it around.
What did you think that they were going to do with it?
I just wanted them to maybe did they want to test it or something? I didn't know. They threw it out. They're like, oh, we don't want that. You know what I mean? So I just made them, they went in and they looked at it. And then the picture with all the cut with the stitches down the arm, that's because they cut my arm and I had them tighten the skin there because it was bad. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, because the skin would, yeah.
Oh, dude, I was stuck with a ball sack. an empty ball sack. You know what I mean? Like a ball sack with no nuts in it. So, and believe me, I don't think that looks good. And,
Did you have to get blood?
No.
Did you have to,
no,
they have to give you blood or no?
Funny you asked me that because I showed them that and they said, no, this blood's been sitting there. Because it's like dead blood. It's almost, it's like mahogany looking. And it's
so
like.
Couldn't that have killed you?
Well, it wasn't infected.
Overproduction of the blood killed you?
You know what? It wasn't, I had no infection, so I didn't have to take any antibiotics. There was no pus, nothing. But I think maybe down the road it could have. I don't know. Because it encapsulated. You know what I'm saying? Like it encapsulated that. I had it for like a fucking couple months. It was just one arm was ridiculous, And I never realized how fucking stupid it looked.
I've heard of a lot of bodybuilders, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think even Lee Priest said that he does it. He gives blood.
See the blood dripping?
He just likes, he likes giving blood to help people or whatever. But a lot of bodybuilders, they have a surplus of blood that I guess can cause problems. So they go and have blood,
Do you know why? I dropped the cap. Hold on. Do you know why, Frank? I'm not peeing. By the way, the pee bucket's still right here, see? So for you guys out there, just stick the pee got, and it's soapy, so, it smells good. There you go, right there. Maybe some of you guys could fucking use a bottle more like this, but I can't. Because my dick's a lot bigger than that. But anyway, you know what it is, Frank? A lot of guys that take a lot of Babanya, their blood gets thick.
Yeah.
And that's why like Tony Huge and those guys, you used to see him and Trevor and all those guys, and they would like donate blood. They'd be like taking blood out or whatever. Even over a bucket, you'll see them fucking undo it. And that's just to get blood. It's not in the muscle. They're actually taking it out of the vein. I was just sticking that thing in. Here you go.
Gotcha.
A broken blood. Remember in the movie Rocky when he had that big mouse under his eye? Cut me, and he cuts it. Yeah. That's basically my arm. That arm was a giant balloon, and it was filled with blood. So soon as I didn't have to go into the muscle. The muscle was way down here. That was all fucking this big reservoir of blood. So once I stuck it in, I could pull out the blood. I didn't have to go in a vein. There was no vein. I was just poking it everywhere.
Out of a capsule.
It was just terrible. Yeah, it was. That's what a hematoma is. It's like a broken blood vein. It's just a broken blood vessel and fills up with blood. That's it.
Now, what did you think at the time? I'm going to be able to take care of this myself.
Yes.
Like, was that? So you thought you were just going to drain it, put some, rub some alcohol on it, go.
That's what I'm an idiot. Yes. Because you know why, as bodybuilders, we think we could do everything. Listen, I had this other arm. It got flat because what happened was it went in, right? It got, I even showed that. It goes in. What happened there was that's from sticking steroids in there and fucking it got an infection because I'm not clean with the needles, right?
Yeah.
So now I got an infection just like anybody else. And instead of being smart and just doing it myself, pulling the pus, there was pus in the bicep. So instead of pulling the pus out, I went to an emergency room with my girlfriend and my other friend, right? And for them to do it, and they actually, the emergency room doctor actually lanced me, and it hit the muscle. So he cut a little bit of my muscle. So now I have a scar that's like this, and it flattened out the bicep. So now I look like this fucking ridiculous freak, And I understand why people think that's synthol, but you don't take I tell you, I'll fuck a tranny right in her ass. I don't give two shits if she's hot, okay? But you think I'm gonna lie? You think I'm gonna lie? No, that's fucking not synthol. If it was synthol, I'd say, yeah, fuck around with synthol. A lot of these guys.
Why is that hard for people to understand, though? I never understood it. And I've followed you for 30 years, and I've never, which is surreal. I honestly have been a fan of yours for 30 fucking years, and now we become friends.
Yes.
But I don't it's oil. It's oil in the test, right?
Right.
The test is suspended in oil. Why is that hard for people to believe that the oil that was being used, especially back then, was a pure pharmaceutical oil? Mm-hmm. Why is it hard for people to believe that 3 cc's of that oil is not the same as 3 cc's of oil for
exactly?
It's the same fucking thing.
Exactly. What they don't realize is I was taking oil-based steroid, and I was sticking 3 cc's in here, and then a day or two later, another 3 cc's, and then a day or two later, another 3 cc's. So the oil builds up, right?
Yeah, I don't understand why people had so much.
My thinking is, why would you put a dead, like a useless oil in that has? Why not? If you're going to put oil in there, have drug in it. You know what I mean? Like have testosterone. You know what I mean?
And you probably, the muscle probably did fill a good part of that space. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, you do that if you shoot synthol or even steroids directly into muscle, you're going to stretch the fascia. Mm-hmm. Okay, yep. And when you get to stretch, the stretch of the fascia helps the muscle actually grow even easier. And in my brain, now there's no science to this, but in my brain, I'm putting the testosterone right into the bicep. You know what I mean? Like, I feel there's got to be some localized growth by putting it, because you ever see a guy that shoots, my friend used to shoot his ass, and he had fucking shelves. His ass from the side looked like Kim Kardashian's. He had like a fucking shelf up there, right? Why would you want a fat ass? I've never shot my ass once. I moved it around, like that.
Even for guys that never want to take anything, they're always like, "Oh, I want to get my arms bigger." What's the best thing for getting your arms bigger, right? So those kids, those people, arm wrestlers or whatever, with the big fucking giant limbs.
Yes.
Right. I actually have some friends that they've dealt with it in their family. It's a genetic disorder, right?
Yes.
So I would always think to when I was arm wrestling, I arm wrestled.
Sure.
When I was arm wrestling, I couldn't move my fucking arms. I thought, I'm big and strong and whatever, but you're using something totally different. You're using connective tissue, right? And I was always in fucking pain. And someone, I don't know what made me think about it. I started looking at all these people with these genetic deformities and whatever. And I said, well, what if I get like those blood flow restriction bands? I was like, I wonder if that would help, because blood always stays in your muscle. Blood does not stay in your connective tissue, right? Right tissue. So I got the bands years ago. I got the blood flow restriction bands, And I would wear them all the fucking time. I'd be wearing them at work. I'd be wearing them when I worked out. It healed the arms from arm wrestling. They didn't hurt anymore, right?
Wow.
So it was like, huh. So I started wearing those things all the fucking time. You can actually stretch your fascia with the blood by using the blood flow restriction bands. I got a friend, Mass Monster. It's what he goes by on Instagram. He came to me. He's like, I've been a fan of yours since you were with Piano and whatever. I want to get my arms bigger. I told him, don't listen to what anyone says. Get the fucking blood flow restriction bands and, do this, this, and this. Wear it this much time or whatever. He's been wearing. He's been documenting his growth. Tremendous. His arms are
wow.
Like it makes sense. Anything that you put in there. I mean, guys could never take anything, right?
But you're also keeping nutritious blood. The blood brings the nutrients to the muscle and healing properties, so it can heal. The first thing they tell you, if you had surgeries, they tell you get up and walk because they want your circulation to go so that it heals you. The blood is what heals you. Even
when you have like tennis elbow, right?
Yeah.
Or any type of tissue is causing you pain or whatever. You get the blood flow restriction bands. The last thing you want to do, everyone tells you to rest. Rest nice. No, fuck that. You want to get the blood into the connective tissue.
I agree with that.
So you sit there and you watch TV and you constantly move with the blood flow. Keep the blood in there and it heals like 10 times faster. I try to tell people they're like, okay, all right, sure, that's all. And it's like,
no, it makes sense though. I tell everybody because calling blood to the area.
Yeah, there you go. And look at the guys. Look at the one arm. There's arm wrestlers, right, with the genetic deformity, where they have more blood. It's like a vein disorder,
right?
And it keeps the blood in the one side, and the more blood you have in one side or in one area, the more that area is going to grow, right? So by using that, now a lot of people use those to work out, right?
Right.
All the fucking time. I would have you can't do tourniquet. Don't do tourniquets because you'll blow something and then you'll be fucked.
Oh yeah, then you can stop the blood flow. Yeah,
you'll blow a nerve. But those are amazing. They're like the best thing fucking going. And I try to tell people, and half the people listen and half the people don't. It's like, well, if I didn't say what you wanted to hear, why'd you even ask me? You know what I mean?
That's the way people are. They don't want to. You know what the worst is? Did you ever give a guy your attention? Like, okay, listen, I want to. Hey, Frank, could you help me work out? You write down a routine, maybe even show him some stuff in the gym. Yeah. And then like a week later, you see him with another guy, and that guy's showing him the same shit. Like, dude,
that's why I stopped training people.
Yeah, I don't want to
people all the time. I used to write for magazines. I used to train people. I had Big Frank Supergirls. I had a team of like 40 girls, all pros that were competing. I had guys that were competing. I had a ton of people who were competing. And then you start catching guys are worse than girls. I liked focusing. You're always like, oh, the girls come running for you. But it's because I've helped a lot of females too, right? Because I would prefer to work with females because you could tell a female, eat that dog shit, you'll look better than you'll ever look in your life. And they'll eat it all day, right? You tell a guy, listen, we're going to have to take the carbs out of the fourth meal, and he's ready to slit his wrists. You know what I mean? And then he starts with I feel small. I feel horrible. Well, so-and-so's not eating that. It's like, look, man, you came to me for help. Like, do you want my help? Or do you want to listen to so-and-so and look like a fat pig on stage? You know what I mean? Like, you have to be shredded on stage or you're going to look like a bloated piece of shit.
Well, these people can't listen. They just, no matter what you say, it's like they think like, well, this guy says to do it this way. And then they're talking to three other people. I can't waste my time with that. You know what I mean? You know what
pisses me off? So there used to be the term fitness influencer, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's such a thing as fitness influencer. Maybe there's like a couple left, but they're just influencers now. And all they do is influence people to buy their bullshit or buy someone
else's. That's all it is. Yup.
There's a couple guys out there that have millions of followers and whatever. You know a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
And all they do is bash everybody.
Yeah.
There's a certain personality out there with a whiny fucking voice. I can't watch them for 5 seconds.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I agree with you. But
it's Sam Sulek. It sounds like Gilbert Gottfried. I can't watch that guy. Nothing against him. I don't even know him. And yeah, he looked fine. He looked fine when he turned pro and whatever. But he bashes everybody. I mean, fucking everybody.
But that's how they get. Yeah, that's how they get.
He rides Sam Sulek's nuts for millions of views. And sometimes I say to myself, all right, is he riding Sulek's, or is he causing his followers to go to Sulek to look at him and helping the guys? I don't know.
No, he's writing Sulek's stuff. You know what it is? You put Sam's name in a title to the thing. This is what Sam Sulek did, and then people are going to see that and they're going to want to watch it. And you know, I think because Dave does sometimes that shit. Like, you know, he would love to get Sam Sulek on a show and all that because it means hits. That's, you know, they think about that.
I don't like negativity.
I don't even do my own.
I don't like bullshit. I don't like lies. I was a fat guy after my car accident. You see my
I can't believe that. That's
I tried
ridiculous.
to get fucking. And you know who was awesome about
Olympia of that shit.
When you introduced me to Bob Bonham, he sent my before and afters to who's the head of the NPC and IFBB? Jim Manny. He sent my pictures to Jim Manny. He said, "Look at this transformation. If you ever seen a transformation like this," and he said, "If there was a Mr. Olympia for transformations, he would win." Bob was an awesome guy. That's what I say. I had a lot of fun with him that weekend. But
that's what I say. Your transformation is like fucking. That's ridiculous. That's almost like that's not even like if you didn't tell me that was you, I wouldn't even believe it's you. You know what I mean?
It took me years to finally find someone who could help me. You know what I mean? I was doing Slim Fast. I was doing fucking everything, right? Believing the bullshit, the magazines, whatever. But there wasn't as much bullshit as there is today. So when I see these people flat out lying, it drives me crazy. That's why I started training so I could be someone that people could trust, that I was actually going to transform them. But it's almost impossible to work with someone because there's so much bullshit out there that they want to listen to the easiest out there. I remember that if it fits your macros or if it fits in your mouth. I was training these girls and they were like, well, so-and-so's doing if it fits your macros and they're eating marshmallows and they're eating pizza. And it's like, it's all bullshit. Like, it's bullshit. And then the person I wound up arguing with, the coach, wound up gaining like 100 pounds, right? And I was like, see, that's when I just said, I can't do this anymore. I don't love doing it because I started doing it to help people. And if people are going to second guess everything I say,
that's the worst.
I don't want it.
It's not worth it. Yeah. And let me tell you something. You know what really stews my clamps? When you see some chick that's been training 2 years and now she's a fucking, I'm doing personal trainings now. You know, I'm doing like I'm a fitness influencer. And, you know, dude, there's girls who are hot looking. Okay, I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. They're cute girls. It's just natural good looks. They'll put on some makeup, put on slick, yeah, and they'll 10-second lip sync to like, baby, hit me one more time. And they do that shit. And horny fucking men like that shit. So now she's got 1 million followers. She has zero talent. She has no talent at all. She's just a pretty fucking girl. You know what I mean? And she's got millions of followers. I'm like a content creator. I make money on TikTok. I'm like a model. No, you're not. You're just some cunt that fucking sings. She sings. She's not even singing. She lip syncs. You know, like you'll hear Britney Spears. Oh, baby. And she'll be like this, you know, like this into the fucking 10 seconds. And then you look, holy shit, how many people like that video? Now, I don't really do my own social media. She does. I haven't been on Facebook or anything. She does that shit. Yeah. We'll see it. I'm the one.
Well, I know, because I've got to write you a couple times and she always answers. So
yeah, because you'd be better off texting me because I got a flip. I had a flip phone up in the recently. Like if God came down right now, she's
you don't have the flip phone anymore?
No more flip phone. But I gotta tell you something. If God came down right now, say get your cell phone and go on something.com. I don't know how to get on the internet. So like we were just at the eye doctor and I'm sitting there and there's old ladies and everybody's on the phone in the waiting room. And I'm looking around and like there's no more magazines. So I'm looking around and I'm like, hey, my girlfriend's sitting there. She's on fucking, you know, whatever. And I'm like, you know, I feel left out. Like, cause I don't know how to do that. I know how to answer the phone and I can text message you, but it's easier. Usually when I text message, it's from this computer here. Cause I have a Mac or whatever you call it, desktop. But other than that, I'm best. I don't really do my own social media. You know what I mean? That's why my fucking things suck because she's too busy on everybody else's social media. So I tell her, do my fucking social media. But anyway, I just figured I'd tell her. But watching these girls, you know, like ooh, baby, baby. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like zero talent to that because she's a hot chick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a, you know, sometimes like, oh, I tried on this new outfit. What do you think? And, you know, like this. And guys are like, oh my God, instant like, can I send you money? You know what I mean?
Until her balls fall out.
What's that?
Until her balls fall out, because it's really
today some of the girls you don't know.
You hit the nail on the head when you said there are some that you would never know was a guy.
Frank, I'll send you one that you'd be like, Greg,
with all the surgery and shit out there, you just don't know anymore. Even
not just surgery. If you get one that's just naturally some kid that was born a boy but now looks, but they're rare. The real ones are rare. When you see those like Call Me Ma'am or those things that are up there in fucking Minnesota with the fucking, that's not a tranny. You know what I'm saying? I'll show you a fucking, now Johnny Styles knows, but he likes the ones with the big asses and big tits. I don't like that. Sorry, Johnny. But you know, I'll show you ones you'll be like, no, that's not. No, that's not. And I'll be like, Frank, I'm telling you. You know, she got the visually God cut off, but still, that's it, you know. But who cares? But it's a different world today. You know, I feel like when these girls, like, you know, first of all the guys I work with on After Hours all have dirt in their closet, so they, you know, they know don't go too far with that shit because I know you're dirt, and I will spill it. Okay, and when you're starting to date these female bodybuilders, look, I love my female bodybuilders. I love them, my sisters. I love them all. Now date, but some of them, like, you know, shaving their face and their chest, and, you know, pull my finger. You know what I mean? And you bend them over, and they got these giant traps and fucking giant delts and, you know, striated glutes. You might as well just fucking pound a guy in a can, because that's, you understand?
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of that, there's a lot of girls, even in bikini these days, that get a guy trainer, and the guy starts shoveling all this shit. I can't believe how much shit people are taking these days. Even, oh my God. Even guys having girls like bikini competitors taking testosterone and
you can hear it in their voice. And you know what's you know what, Frank? If you saw some of those bikini girls, like you see pictures of me, you go, wow, she's fucking hot. Now I love skinny girls, like skinny, hard, fit body. You won me over there with the body. But you see some of their faces, you know, the pores are huge. They got 6 inches of makeup on, fake eyelashes that are this long. You know,
and it's not even to knock them. It's not even to knock them. They don't know where to go, so they're going to like the most reputable coach, right?
Right.
And the coach is having all the girls do the same thing, and then when I trained the girls I did bikini, figure, I did everything, right? Mm-hmm. They all look beautiful. Like you look way back on my page, you see the girls I had like 30 or 40 girls that I was working with. They all look beautiful. I'm not to say anything bad about these girls now, but a lot of them are taking a lot of shit so unnecessarily. It's not even funny, and it's just taking such a toll. And I don't know.
They think because they're taking like a ton of Anavar, you don't realize it's still toxic on the liver and all that stuff. And it makes with a girl, you're putting a male hormone in a female body. Okay, so whatever you think, you girls may be like, wow, come on, you know, who are you to talk? I'm just letting you know. It's the equivalent of a man taking estrogen. It's the same thing. But the thing is, though, all these coaches are usually banging the girls too. You know that, right? They
break up with them because they become too manly, or because they start shaving their face, or because they're this or that, and then they can't meet anyone. And who they wind up dating? Someone who's never been in a gym.
Right. It just goes that way. It's been that way. I laugh at some of these coaches. I mean, first of all, you know, Frank, I mean, you can have a guy, let's say you decided, I want to compete again. I think you'd be crazy at your age, be the guy you are. You already got great
people say it all the time. They're like, you have to go to Masters. Nobody's going to compete MTC Masters at your size. I don't want it. I have no interest.
No, you want to do that to your body, to fucking put your body through all that shit anyway?
Plus, being, like we said, all or nothing, I would never settle for not being as good as I was before. So, and I wasn't, I just didn't have the right structure for bodybuilding. I'm too tall. I got as good as I could, and that was that, right?
But you look great.
I got 4 kids. Where am I going? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not taking a chance of killing myself for a trophy, or even people are like, oh, you got to get that IFBB pro card because, you know, I got the other one. Yeah. They're like, oh, you deserve to have the IFBB pro. man, I'm not going to risk myself or not being around for my kids for a fucking card. And no knock against anyone who does it. It's harder for me being as tall as I am because, you know, if I was 5'5", right, and I had stayed in good shape and whatever, I want to do Masters Nationals. God bless you. I hope you look amazing. Compete until you're 90 years old. But when you're 6'4" and you need to be over 300 pounds on stage, and you're heading, you know, north towards 60 years old, you know what I mean? You're 55 years old. You know what you got to do, and that's a huge gamble and chance to take. And I'm not taking it ever.
It's the age thing more than if you don't want to do that to yourself. That's it. You know, you get some of these people, they can't live without that shit. You know, like, oh, there's a 75-year-old bodybuilder, but look what he looks like. You know, he's just a thin guy. He's not trying to, like Frank said, he's not trying to be 300 fucking pounds and shit. You can't do that. It's not good for the heart. You know what I mean? It's just
and like you said earlier, when guys come back to do it and they're not what they were, like, I love the guy. He's been my hero since the 90s, Kevin Levrone, right? But when he came back, I love that documentary they did on him. I love that he came back and did it and whatever. But you always get the dickheads that are like, oh, that's just a shadow of Kevin Levrone. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's not Kevin Levrone. It's like, you motherfucker. Like, at his age, to come back after all those years, being as small as he got down to, coming back and doing it, no one gives you credit. They judge you. They don't judge you on how you were before. They judge you on how you are now. And he was smaller than the other guy. Still looked amazing, but you know.
Yeah, Kevin's my friend.
Once I realized, all right, I'm capping out here. I was done. Whether I got injured or whether I didn't get injured, I still would have been done because I knew my limits. Some people don't know their limits.
Right.
Some people say, you know, they'll be 6'4", let's say. Some people have that mentality of, you know what? Well, you look good. What if you did this and insulin and this much growth and this much this and that much that? And then you come out like poor Kovacs. You know what I mean? Kovacs turned pro. He looked good for being an enormous guy, right? But then he wasn't big enough. People kept saying, he kept listening to you. You got to be bigger. And then his last show, oh my God. Like he didn't.
I was there when Kovacs was sitting there and his fucking wife had to put a little fan on him. You know what I mean? He couldn't breathe. Yeah, I remember this. You were Rich.
You know, so me and Kovacs used to have the same trainer, Scott Abel. Do you remember that name, Scott Abel?
Yes, I do know the name, yes.
That's who helped transform me. And he would tell me some stories about Kovacs, and I'd be like, what?
You can't wipe his ass the whole bit. You know what I mean?
He would rip his nipples off.
He would what? How do you rip it?
Apparently he had like an obsessive compulsive type thing or whatever. He would get nervous and start rubbing his nipple and rip his nipples right off, like rub them right off. And then they'd partially grow back and then he'd fucking, yeah.
Oh my God. I heard biting nails, but that's a little bit much.
Like, what the fuck? And then, yeah, the stories I have, and I'm fucking wipe his ass because his wife wasn't there when Nasser was there, right? And he had to wipe his ass with the towels, and he threw the fucking towels in the shower, and Nasser had to go to the bathroom, and he was like, no, not that bathroom. And Nasser walked in there, and he saw the shit towels all in the bathtub.
Oh, and I could hear Nasser talk, but look at us, he has wide waist and everything. I mean, he's a big guy, but you know, if that waist was inches small,
decent shape for being so.
No, I'm not gonna.
But then he pushed it. His last show, even his arms got small, but his body was big and his legs were under. He just, that last show, and they made him do it. I think he was under contract to do his last show. But like there, he looks good. When he won the Canadian Nationals to turn pro, he looked really good. He should have just stayed there, but he got bit by that bug that told him that he had to be. You know who looked amazing? I know you don't like him, but when Ferrigno came back in '94, was it?
I thought he should have won.
I couldn't believe how good he looked.
I thought he should have won. He should have beat Robbie Rod. I don't like him because I was friends with his brother Andy, and I'm friends with his father Matt. I used to do it, and all the personal shit. You know, I don't want to get into it because I let it go. You know, I don't hate anybody. You know, I think he hates me more than I hate him, but that's okay. Yeah.
That's where we're similar. I think we're similar in that, you know, I think that's a reason maybe why you don't do as much social media too, is like me, you think to yourself, well, I like everyone, so why the fuck would someone not like me? You know what I mean? And then you get the hate and the bullshit. Because sometimes I see you on the shows and I see the shit that the people are writing.
Oh, yeah,
just,
like, shit.
You're so confused. Like, you're like, why are you talking shit about me? Like, I don't talk shit about anyone. Why do you do it? And that's why I don't even take comments on my Instagram page. I don't even accept comments because my kids watch my page and I get more bullshit and hate than anything. And it's like,
yeah,
I would never hurt someone unless they hurt me or my family or something like that. Like, I'm just an easygoing guy. Try to get people, motivate them to just, you know, you're the same way.
Yeah, it's funny because
negativity.
My girlfriend was telling me about that with you. I didn't know that, right? But you don't take comments because she likes that. Because Larry does that. You know, Larry, if you talk shit on his page, he fucking instantly blocks you, gets you off. Even because he always says, that's my fucking house. Yeah. And if you're going to be a guest in my house, and you're going to talk shit about me on my page and let everybody see that. You know what I'm saying? That's the way Larry thinks.
I'm not doing it. I'm not letting my kids see that shit. Not letting my kids' friends see that shit. I control my page and I make it positive and I try to put out a message. If you don't like me, don't follow me. Of course, there are many people that follow me because they do hate me and then they'll share the shit and talk shit about me on their own page. Go ahead and do that because I'm not going to look at your page anyways. You know what I mean? Because I don't go on anyone else's page.
No, me neither. Fuck that. I'm not going to go to some trolls page.
But I'm not going to. Why? See, Piana loved that. Piana loved the haters because the haters made him famous and whatever. I don't want it. I just don't want it. You know, maybe at one time years ago, to a degree, I was like, "Oh, that'd be cool," but
you know what it is?
Rather,
I'm going to tell you, this is what it is too. Piana didn't have kids. You have kids. I have kids.
Exactly.
You know, there's people who will start talking shit about your kids. Say something about your daughter that's happened to me a million times.
And then I'll go to jail.
And then but no, you know what? You might not because you won't know who it is. And I always say you guys are cowards. When they talk to you, they know who you are. I'm talking to Big Frank. They talk to me, they're talking to GREGG VALENTINO. I don't know who you are. You're Venom 123. I have no idea. You're fuzzy nipples. How do I know who you are? You're hiding behind some fucking. You're a coward. You can sit here. Totally. You can sit here and call Mike Tyson an N-word and say you screwed his mother. But whatever. And because he'll never know who you are. Yeah. That's what I don't like. Is the people who make a living out of being trolls and hide. They're hiding. You understand?
That's why I tell you, I watch all your lives. I watch all your shows. And, you know, there's the dickheads with the fake profiles and the fake names that just feel the need to say the dumbest things. Like, even when you're talking about fucking apples, and this guy's like, well, if you're a trainer and you're training someone who wanted to swim, what exact exercises would you have him do for his trapezius while he's doing the butterfly? And you read that question and you're like, what? Like, what? Yeah. You're not even in the gym training people, but he's asking about how you would train a swimmer's trapezius. Like,
go ask a swimmer that shit. You know, you don't ask a body. First of all. Second of all, you know, everything to me is if you're going to play sports, endurance. Run. Just run. You know what I mean? Speed kills, no matter what sport it is. MMA, the reason what makes like Nate Diaz and his brother so good is not because they're strong. They don't hit real fucking hard, but they're skilled. But they can outlast you. They can outgas anybody.
Now,
Conor McGregor runs out of gas.
I know you're a UFC and MMA fan like I am. Oh, by the way, my son is switching for powerlifting. He wants to fight now. Like,
okay, well, that's what he wants to do. You never get in between that. You let him just do whatever he wants to do.
So,
how old is he again?
18.
Okay, Jesus, I can't believe.
So, yeah, he's big. He's a big kid. So let me ask you a question. Do you think the guys, the UFC or MMA fighters in the 90s and early 2000s, compare that? You know what they're all doing. They're all doing. Compare them to today. Which group do you think is tougher? Because I've argued about this a million times online. Because everybody says, oh, the muscle made him slower and blah, blah, blah. However, a lot of the guys that were gassed up actually were allowing more oxygen into their muscles by what they were taking. So, like a classic Vanderlei Silva, right? Yeah. Against someone his weight class these days. Vanderlei was an animal. He would eat your fucking nose.
If you got him, if you didn't get him in the first round, the only thing is today these people are so scared. I don't know if you noticed, but my daughter fights MMA. My daughter's a jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
Yeah, my daughter fights in the ring. My daughter fights jujitsu, and she's been boxing, but she's not.
that's awesome.
But yeah, I can send you
There's
pictures.
something streams. You got to give me the link. I want to watch.
Yeah, I'll send you some shit with her. She's badass. She's crazy.
That's
But that's
awesome.
neither here nor there. The thing is, today, back in the, Don Fry and those guys, they could wrestle. A lot of them were barroom brawls, but the skill of jujitsu today is, and the different levels of fighting. Back in those days, those guys were guys who got in street fights, Tank Abbott and shit, and just decided to get in the ring, and or just started to take MMA and shit later on in life. Like Randy Couture was a wrestler. You know what I mean? That was his thing. College wrestling, all that stuff. He didn't get into boxing or any of that stuff till later in his life. But these guys today, they started out as kids. Their mom took them to
they're definitely more technical, but do you think
they're more skilled?
Do you think they have the same level of aggression?
No, because I think those guys fought because they love to fight. I think today, a lot of these guys, like, who is it? I think it was not Chris Cormier, Daniel Cormier. One of them was saying that the old school, like these kids, like a lot of these guys, these UFC guys, they're skilled fighters, but they're really pussies if they get compared to the way the mindset. Like Vanderlei Silva wanted to kill you. He didn't give a fuck. I want to rip out your fucking eyeball. A lot of those guys were tough guys when they were young kids. They were tough.
Mark Coleman. Mark
Coleman was a badass. I mean, he was really bad. I thought that guy was one of the, but those guys fought even backstage.
The Rock just played Mark.
Mark Kerr.
Mark Kerr. That's right.
Listen,
so Mark Kerr. Classic Mark Kerr, when he was aggressive, when he was like crazy, right? And plus, he didn't feel any pain. So you weren't going to hurt him. I mean, he came right out and said what he was taking, so he wasn't feeling any pain. Imagine him against one of these heavyweights now that, all the heavyweights are a little overweight. You know what I mean? Like, imagine that monster against a heavyweight these days. I don't know. I think he'd kill him.
Well, it's almost like comparing boxers. It's hard to take them out of their era.
And I try to tell people, and they're like, "Oh, someone today would take them down real easy." And it's like, you don't understand. Like, they would chew your throat out. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not the same. They're not the same type of fighter as today.
It's a different animal. I mean, I do think that today they're skilled. There's a lot more fighters, but these guys paved the way. You know what I'm saying? They paved the way. It's just like when people try to talk shit about Babe Ruth. Yeah, but there were no black or Hispanic players playing back. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? The fucking balls were like wacky sacks. You know what I mean? They didn't have like machine-honed bats and machine-honed balls. They were hand-sewn. Exactly. See, they weren't like today hardened and all that stuff. He would have hit, and today they didn't have like fucking, we can see like, the picture, you watch fucking, game like highlights and, you get, no. Bro, that guy was whacking balls, drinking beers, throwing a fart, smoking cigars in the dugout between fucking play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So you can't really take people out of their era. It's a little tough, but I do like those kind of guys that were gritty. Like, I'm telling you, I think the Diaz brothers are throwbacks. You could beat Nate Diaz.
I'm looking forward to see him come back. Both brothers are coming back. So,
but is Nick ever going to come back? I thought he was banned again.
No, he said he's coming back. I didn't think he was, but he's saying that he wants to come back. As a matter of fact, maybe I read that he's trying to get on that White House card.
I heard that too. I don't know if they're going to take him. It's all a matter of Dana White's going to pick who wins and who. Listen, John Bones Jones, though, it's hard for me to think of anybody beating that guy. I mean, it's just.
But he doesn't. I don't think they want to let him fight anymore. I don't know if it's that he doesn't want to fight or if they don't want to let him fight. I've read both.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was at the Arnold.
He's nuts.
Yeah,
he's nuts. But talk about a guy that you keep fucking doing shit to your own self, stabbing yourself like that. It's ridiculous. Constantly with the cocaine, constantly with this, constantly with that, beating up the wife, all those kind of things. And then you could have fucking, the world is your oyster, bro. You're so good. I mean, it's these guys do it. Look at Nick Diaz. He's over there looking for crack drops and they have pictures of him outside, in the grass. His own girlfriend's like, Nick, what are you doing? And he's like digging in the grass and he's all skinny looking and shit. Come on, bro. You know what I mean? Like, those guys amaze me that they still have the wind, the gas that they have when they're fucking smoking weed, even in the ring. You know, they do that
Frank,
shit.
I mean, I hate to stop it right there, but
I already filled up the pee bucket once, so I'm gonna have to go take a piss. You guys, come back next week.
Stay with us, guys. Next week.